Words so sharp, they cut right through. Real talk for the soul's appeal. Prayers rise up the wounds they heal. Lift our voices to the sky. A righteous perspective high. On this path we won't back down. For the Father wears the crown. Each step brings another fight. Breaking chains, we're seeking light. Voice of power won't be tamed. With his love, we're never shamed. Lift our voices to the sky. A righteous perspective high. On this path we won't back down. For the Father wears the crown. From the ashes we shall rise. Hope is found deep in our eyes. Every word a battle cry. With the Father none deny.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to ARP in the morning. Thank you guys for pulling up this morning. I appreciate you all. Man. And my apologies for missing you guys yesterday. But we had some family things. We had a death in our family, and was at a funeral service yesterday. And it just made sense to take that day and take that time, to hang with the wife and be with the family. So, that's pretty much what I was on yesterday. But I do appreciate you guys pulling up this morning. We have 82 people in here early. Make sure you guys hit that like button for me if you haven't done so already. That is the only cost of admission to pulling up to the live streams in the morning, man. And, I appreciate you guys, man. It's been a lot of unfortunate news, here, in this area. And thank you guys. But I definitely appreciate that. And it's just been real unfortunate, man, because I don't know if you guys know this, but I coach football. I don't say I coach. I coached football for, almost 12, 13 years. And I coached middle school level, so 6th through 8th grade. And, and I did that for a long time. But, I did enough to have, 3 waves of kids kind of come through, our team and program and things of that nature. And we found out on Sunday that one of my players was killed early Sunday morning, late Saturday evening, or late Saturday night. I guess it would technically considered Sunday morning. And one of my players, was killed. And we found that out on Sunday. So that's been going around. So it's, it's been crazy, man. And this is a young man. I mean, 18 years old. I had him. He was on our team. I had him for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, I believe. And, and then they, obviously go on to high school. And, every now and again, man, we go and we check him out. we go and check out. I like to go and check out players, that came through our program, through middle school, and they tend to go to different high schools and stuff like that. A lot of them do play on the same high school team, but they where we live at, it's real close. So, um, and it's just really unfortunate, man. It's an 18-year-old kid. 18, he's still a kid. 18 years old. My youngest son's 18 years old, and to find out, that he was shot and killed um, past weekend, man, it's sad. It really is. So there's a lot been going on, man. And it's just it's so unfortunate. You hear all these stories, um, these young people losing their lives for senseless reasons. It's really sad. And to have to, and I know the family, I know the father, and it's just unfortunate. He's a good kid. When we had him on our team, he was a good kid, and it's just unfortunate. Shout out to Queen Bee's Art Hive. Thank you very much for joining the ARP family. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. I really, really appreciate that. God bless you, sister. Thank you very much. Um, but yeah, this has been it's been something else. My wife's uh, um, family member, and they're real private, so I don't want to get into to all of that. But with somebody close, but when you hear someone well up in age, that passes, it's more of a celebration of life than anything. And then, when you hear a young person, 18 years old, and their life cut short early before, they really even get things started. He was due to graduate high school this year, and it's like, man, wow, good kid, good athlete, and we still don't know details. There's not a lot of information. They have not caught the individual or individuals who committed the crime. They still don't know. Still a lot of questions, out there that have been unanswered. Up to this point, I haven't heard anything, yet, other than what's been put out on the news, and some of my coaches, that I coach with. We've kind of had a chance to connect and message back and forth. And, it's just really sad. It's a shock, to be honest with you. It really is a shock. But I appreciate you guys pulling up this morning, and definitely appreciate the condolences and well wishes, man. I definitely appreciate you guys. Shout out to Redefine Queen, first person in the chat this morning. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. She says, "Welcome back, Wise, and have a blessed day, ARP family." Shout out to Lori Otteson. Appreciate you pulling up. Thea Flies High and Quincy James. Appreciate you pulling up this morning as well. What's up, Marla? How you doing? Kevin Caldwell. What up, Scott Jung? How you doing this morning? Tennessee in the building. Larry Montgomery, what's going on with you? Shirley Cummings, appreciate you pulling up. What up, Mark? How you doing this morning, brother? Donald Lovejoy, appreciate you pulling up. What up, Big Job 4? Be safe out there on the road, man. Be safe out there, paving those highways and out there in those highways. My grandfather used to do that back in the day. That was his job. He was a foreman for APAC way back when, and was out there, paving that asphalt, man. It's a tough gig. So shout out to you, man, and appreciate you, for being willing to get out there and do it. He says he's out there paving highways in MAGA America. Shout out to you, brother. What's up, Buddha? How you doing this morning? What's up, Insanities, darling? Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Rosanna Lynn's, appreciate you pulling up this morning. Going on, Brian M. We got Nelly. What up, Coaster? How you doing this morning? Edmar in the building. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Shout out to Steve Edmister, Buffalo. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Dr. Silla, appreciate you pulling up. Baby Lungs, what's going on with you? Maverick One, appreciate you pulling up this morning. Who else we got up in here? True Texan, PK Krillin, what's going on? Suzanne Bills, appreciate you pulling up. What up, K-Row 3? How you doing this morning? Hope all is well. Elijah Burnett, appreciate you pulling up. What up, RJ Hudson? How you doing this morning, brother? What's up, Anna? Is it Ann? Kanichi? Kanichi? Hopefully I'm pronouncing it properly. Appreciate you pulling up. What up, Damon? How you doing this morning? What up, Brian? How you doing this morning? Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Yeah, man, it's a little somber, man. It's somber, to an extent. It is. It is, man. I appreciate you guys. Definitely. Hopefully, is it Vilas? Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Last name Hutchison. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Thank you. What up, Wesley Ace Mitchell? Appreciate you pulling up. He says, "How often are you live? I'm new here. Y'all make sure y'all show Ace some love in the chat. I'm live typically Monday through Friday, 9:30 a.m. Typically, we go about an hour to an hour and a half. Every now and again, there's been some 2-hour shows out there as well. But typically, we start 9:30 a.m. Eastern time, and we're Monday through Friday. Although this week is going to be a short week, it's vacation, so there will not be a show on Friday. I'm planning in a charity event for a fallen police officer. We're actually doing that on Friday, Friday morning. So there will not be a ARP in the morning show on this coming Friday. I'll be out on the golf course um, on that Friday morning. There is a charity event for a fallen police officer, and we're supporting that event there. What's going on, Stephen? How you doing this morning? JVJ Chase, appreciate you pulling up this morning. Thank you. What's up, Dr. Silla? Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Thank you very much. And I'm sorry for your loss as well. Condolences to you and your family, Dr. Silla, as well. Thank you, Quincy James. Who else we got up in here? Queen Bee's Art Hive. Appreciate you pulling up this morning, and thank you for joining the ARP family this morning. Thank you. What's up, Marie News? How you doing this morning? Appreciate you pulling up. What up, Genesis? How you doing this morning? Appreciate you pulling up. Thank you very much. What's up, Zephyr K9? How's it going this morning? Appreciate you pulling up. Francis Fernity. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Thank you very much. Who else we got? What's up, Diane? How you doing this morning? What's up, Dion? How you doing this morning? Appreciate you pulling up. Lisa Valentine, I'm sorry. Appreciate you pulling up. What up, Selena Puckett? How you doing this morning? Appreciate you pulling up. Alan Dodson. Bogus Otis. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Billboard Builds. How's it going this morning? We got Becca Marie K. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Thank you very much. Hey, sorry for your loss as well. Becca says here in Fresno, they lost a soon-to-be grad teen this past Friday, shot in the head after a youth group meeting. That's awful. Sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that. Hey, LJ Taylor, you know how you doing? We got Light Fountain in the building. What's up, Joseph Orsini? Appreciate you pulling up, and thank you very much, man. Yeah. Hey, Carmen, how's it going this morning? And you're absolutely right, man. It's so sad, and a lot of times it's senseless. You find out, and of course, you got trolls. When you see posts and things of that nature, out there, and you got the trolls, people asking, hey, what were they doing out, late? And those are all questions that I think a lot of folks have. But even if you get the answer to those questions, it still doesn't negate the fact that a young life was taken, so early, too soon. It's just so unfortunate, man. It really is. Really is. What's up, Daniel Harper? How you doing this morning? Appreciate you pulling up. What's up, Barbara? How you doing this morning? Mary D. How's it going this morning? Giants 82. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Make sure I didn't miss anybody. CTM 1990. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Thank you very much, man. Appreciate that. What's up, Jesse Outlaw? How's it going this morning? And thank you, LJ Taylor. Thank you very much. Yeah. Yeah. LJ Taylor, you're absolutely right. She says, guys, the devil is busy. Pray for someone in your life, not in the faith. He is attacking the vulnerable. Yes. You're absolutely right, man. You're absolutely right. And thank you very much. Thank you very much. What's up, Mandy? How you doing this morning? Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Hope all is well. What's up, Anita? How you doing this morning? Hope all is well. Thank you very much. What up, Universe Soul? Appreciate you pulling up this morning. North Las Vegas. All right. Hey, Shelby Dodd out of Alabama checking in. Appreciate you pulling up. We're going to get the show started. What's up, Marcus Tillman? Waldorf, Maryland in the building. Got the New Yorker in the building. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Yeah, we're doing pretty good. Coaster says we got 100 likes. Appreciate you pulling up, and thank you guys for hitting that like button. We have 169 people in the building. Let's make sure we hit that like button before we get things kicked off. What up, fam? Laurie K. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Thank you very much. What up, Jason? How you doing this morning, brother? Appreciate you pulling up. Dear Walt Christian in the building. Shout out to you, brother. And thank you, D-Law. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. It is, man. It's unfortunate, man. I don't know how many of you guys, if you've coached, any youth sports or if you've coached, at the high school level or at the middle school level. A lot of times, man, these kids, you'll have like there were situations where I'd have the multiple kids in the same family over the years because I coached middle school, 6th to 8th grade. So I've met I'd have one kid and I get them from 6 to 8, and then next thing you know, his little brother is coming up, a year or so later, and then we'd have him and we get him through that process. And you build bonds, with these kids and with the families and things of that nature. And to an extent, they're almost to an extent they are your kids because you've played a role, in their life, and it's a beautiful feeling when I run into these kids just out and about, maybe at a Walmart or, just out and about somewhere. And sometimes, it may be at one of their games. I get invited to games and things of that nature. Come check us out once they hit high school. And, it's a beautiful thing. It's always still coach, and they're, for the most part, very respectful and things of that nature. And, when you hear, that one of them, um, has been taken away from us so early, and it's a shock. And it's not something that you would expect. And it's just really sad because you expect to hear good things, right? You expect to hear, um, hey, they're going to college or military. There's a lot of them. A lot of guys that I've coached have joined the military. That first wave of kids, man, a good amount of them are either Navy or Army or Marine Corps. A good amount of them, and just to hear it, it's just crazy. 18. And this was not my last wave. He was probably my second to last wave of kids. He was part of that group, man. So rest in peace, Johnny, man. And shout out to his family and condolences to his family, Giuliani family. Just unfortunate, man. It really is. 18 years old, should be getting ready for prom, should be getting ready for graduation. And unfortunately, their family is, getting ready for funeral service, bury him. Really, really sad. Really is. Really is. Oh man. We're gonna get the show started. Man. I appreciate you guys pulling up, man. If you have not done so already, please make sure you hit that like button for me. And Nelly, sorry to hear that as well, man. Goodness gracious. Wow. Make sure you all hit that like button for me. Super chats will stop the show. Super thanks will stop the show as well. Anybody that joins the ARP family, that will stop the show. And anybody that gifts an ARP family membership, that will stop the show as well. Appreciate you all pulling up this morning. Definitely appreciate that, man. Let's get the show started this morning. And if you could, as my guy Jason just said, make sure y'all hit that like. Appreciate you guys. Keep going.
Idea for reopening Alcatraz.
Just an idea I've had, and I guess because the judges, so many of these radicalized judges, they want to have trials for every single, think of it, every single person that's in our country illegally, that came in illegally. That would mean millions of trials, and it's just so ridiculous what's happening. And it's long been a symbol, Alcatraz, of whatever it is. I mean, it's a sad symbol, but it's a symbol of law and order. And, it's got quite a history, frankly. Yeah. So I think we're going to do that, and we're looking at it right now.
Hey, Selena, you are absolutely right. You become part of the family. You do. You become part of the family, when you coach these kids, especially when you get multiple kids that have come through your program. You definitely get really, really close. But let's get into the show, man. If you hadn't hit that like button for me, man, please do so. And let's talk about this upcoming story here. So Trump just dropped I guess some people would call it a bombshell, but he's considering reopening the infamous Alcatraz in San Francisco to lock up America's worst, most violent criminals. I'm sure you guys have questions. Question number one, is this serious? Can he actually do it? What would it cost? Those are all questions that we all have, about this particular situation. Alcatraz hasn't held inmates since 1963. 1963. Today, it's considered, I guess they consider it a top-tier national park and tourist hotspot. The prison itself hadn't been open since 1963. Now, you have Nancy Pelosi, she's scoffing, that the idea isn't serious. But Trump's signaling has two clear aims. His two clear aims here. And once again, he's choosing the week's hot topic, forcing outlets to debate Alcatraz instead of, other flashpoints. And second, he's sending a message to activist judges. Their injunctions against his deportation plans aren't deterring him. He'll keep innovating until the courts relent, because we are a country of law and order. And I do agree, with his statement. If you watch the clip there, y'all allowed 21 million people over here illegally with no due process to get over here. But you expect for each individual that came over here illegally that did not go through the process to get due process, to be booted out. It's insanity. It really is. It's really ridiculous. And these judges, the Democrats, they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing.
How will you use it? How did you come up with the idea?
Well, I guess I was supposed to be a movie maker. We started with the movie making, and we'll end. I mean, it represents something very strong, very powerful in terms of law and order. Our country needs law and order. Alcatraz is, I would say, the ultimate, right? Alcatraz, Sing Sing and Alcatraz, the movies. But it's right now a museum, believe it or not. A lot of people go there. It housed the most violent criminals in the world, and nobody ever escaped. One person almost got there, but they, as you know the story, they found his clothing rather badly ripped up, and it was a lot of shark bites, a lot of problems. Nobody's ever escaped from Alcatraz, and just represented something strong having to do with law and order. We need law and order in this country, and so we're going to look at it. Some of the people up here are going to be working very hard on that, and we had a little conversation. I think it's going to be very interesting. We'll see if we can bring it back in large form, add a lot. But I think it represents something. Right now it's a big hulk that's sitting there rusting and rotting. You look at it, it's sort of, you saw that picture that was put out, it's sort of amazing. But it sort of represents something that's both horrible and beautiful and strong and miserable, weak. It's got a lot of qualities that are interesting, and I think they make a point.
Yeah, so it is an idea. It's an idea. It is an idea. The one thing I do like about President Trump is at least he does have some ideas. I got to give him that much. He has ideas. They may not all be good, they may not all work, but at least he is a man of ideas. He's a man of trying to come up with some solutions. We don't hear a lot of solutions, coming from the left, but at least he does have some ideas. But if you look at the data, his pitch sort of makes sense. FBI stats show that less than 1% of people commit nearly 98% of violent crime. That's an FBI stat. The FBI stats show that less than 1% of people commit nearly 98% of the violent crime in the country. So, hey, lock up that tiny slice of repeat offenders and you slash crime dramatically. Makes complete sense to me. Makes complete sense to me. Alcatraz also sits right in the middle of the bay, out there in San Francisco. It's impossible to miss. From every office tower, every pier you sail past, turning it into a modern fortress prison would be a bold, unmissable statement, to say the least. And it just lets it be known, or it would put it out there, that violent crime won't be tolerated. And if you're an activist judge that's trying to halt our deportation agenda, think again. We're going to figure out a way to get illegals off our streets one way or another. One way or another. So maybe it is a situation to where, hey, you open up maybe an Alcatraz or some of these other prisons out there, and hey, if we can't deport them, toss them in there and we'll give them their due process. I mean, we're talking, they want 20 million people to get a trial to leave. They want 20 million people to get a trial to leave. This is crazy.
I think the symbolism.
How many illegal migrants are in Guantanamo Bay right now?
There's a couple of hundred. We continue to move these folks out and get them to their country of origin or a third country that agrees to accept them, because these are hardened criminals.
Rikers Island is similar to Alcatraz in the sense that it's an island surrounded by water. I think the comparisons stop after that, but there's a plan to close Rikers here in New York. Would this administration take action on Rikers?
I think everything's on the table. I'm not going to get ahead of Secretary Noem or President Trump, but this administration is one of law and order, and we are getting these criminal illegal aliens off of our streets. We get reports that come in every single day to see who was picked up. We have child molesters, rapists, murderers, arsonists, you name it. There are people who have been in this country for far too long, committing crimes and terrorizing our communities, and we will get them out, whether it be Rikers Island, Alcatraz, Guantanamo Bay, or another detention facility. These people will not be on our street under President Trump and Secretary Noem.
All right, Tricia McLaughlin, thanks for joining us here on this Monday.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Yeah, so this is a mandate. This is a mandate. And this is the mandate that the American people gave to President Trump. And he's carrying it out. Shout out to my guy, True Texan, with the $2 super chat, because Trump needs to defy the courts and deport them all. The crazy thing is that when Obama deported over 3 million people, same thing happened in Bush. During the Bush administration, he deported a ton of people, hundreds of thousands, upwards into the millions. Same thing happened with Clinton. There were 0 court injunctions. 0. None. Trump just got in office. There's already 30 court injunctions right now. And he just got in office. This is what we're dealing with right now. The American people gave the Trump administration a mandate, and he is doing everything that he can to carry it out. I'm sick and tired of hearing people or hearing Democrats say that these people need due process when there was no process for them to get into this country. I'm sick and tired of rewarding criminals. I'm sick and tired of it. I don't think that we should incentivize. I think we should incentivize good behavior, not bad behavior. Seriously. Now, back in its heyday, Alcatraz was the ultimate symbol of tough on crime justice. From 1934 to 1963, it housed the worst of the worst of the worst in this country. People like Al Capone and the Birdman, Robert Shroud. Hey, it's a place that you didn't want to go. I mean, you're talking about being surrounded by freezing, shark-infested waters of the San Francisco Bay. It is a place that you did not want to go. You were not getting out of there. Even if you did happen to get out of the prison itself, the strong currents from the water, the icy temperatures, it basically made the escape nearly impossible. I mean, I guess you would escape to your death, but and maybe that was better than sitting in that daggone cell in Alcatraz. Maybe. But that's the reason why it became one of the most notorious prisons in American history. And Trump wants to bring that legacy back, turning it into a modern fortress for today's most ruthless, violent offenders. I mean, we're talking gang leaders, people who repeat just some of the most heinous acts, or, you know, are caught up for some of the most heinous acts. Kind of like the dude out in Ohio who ran over the police officer out there. I think that's something that we're not going to talk about on this particular show, but maybe that's something I'll talk about a little later today. You know, in a standalone video. But that situation is crazy. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole right now, but that situation is crazy. And the sad part about it is you got people bigging him up saying that he did a good thing, which is even crazier. Illegal immigrants who've committed, you know, just some of the most heinous acts. Yeah, they deserve to be over there at on Alcatraz. They do. But there is a catch. There is a catch. Reopening Alcatraz isn't a walk in the park. I mean, there's some work that needs to be done. The prison's been shut down since the 60s. So it's not an immediate fix today, because it's going to take a while to get the prison up to speed to where it could even take prisoners. And you got to think about the hiring of guards and so forth and so on. It's a process. I mean, it's a thought, but it's a process to even get that thing open to where they could take prisoners. I mean, again, this prison's been shut down since the 60s. And the reason why it was shut down is because it was 3 times more expensive to run than other federal facilities out there. Some estimate, some people are estimating that it would cost, $235 to $370 million just to get the daggone thing up and running, plus $40 to $60 million a year to operate it. It might actually be better to just build something else from scratch in, one of these towns, in middle America somewhere. It might actually be cheaper to do that. So I'll ask you guys in the chat, is this a price that you're willing to pay to clean up the streets? 300, maybe upwards of almost 400 million plus another 40 to 60 million dollars to run this thing on an annual basis. That's a lot of bread. That's a lot of bread. I don't know. It's an idea, but I don't know if it's a feasible idea. Doesn't make a lot of sense. But predictably, the Democrats and their media allies, they're losing their minds over this. MSNBC analysts completely lost it when asked about this idea to reopen Alcatraz. You guys got to see it for yourself. Again, it is just an idea. Now, this individual is not going to have a solution, but they got tons of complaints. But that's what we get from the left. No ideas, no actual solutions, no alternative ideas, just complaints. But hey, what would you expect?
Do you think the symbolism is here? Is this just some weird nostalgic throwback? Should we be reading something more into this? It seems like somewhere between a distraction and maybe something significant about, again, his disdain for rule of law.
The latter. In fact, 3 months ago, the reliable Donald Trump Jr. Did what we call in my area of work a trial balloon. He posted, "Hey, maybe we should reopen Alcatraz." And then the MAGA world picked it up, and then it became a thing. And that's what propagandists do. They dump something as a trial balloon, a little floater, and then it becomes possible. And it becomes like a thing you could think of doing. And then lo and behold, now he wants to do this. So that's a good example of this process that authoritarians do. The other is that, sure, look at these priorities. We're cutting Social Security. We're cutting child welfare. Catherine, you wrote an op-ed on the war on children, and I'm writing about this too. It's just totally tragic. And yet there's money to not just reopen Alcatraz, just refurbish it. Like it's another real estate deal for Donald Trump to refurbish it. And so this shows you the priorities of the regime, which is, mass incarceration in the worst circumstances possible. I wouldn't put it past them to be inspired by Bukele's gulag in El Salvador to remodel Alcatraz.
Hey, Bukele's gulag, huh? I mean, it's these liberals, man. They're something else, man. They really are. These are also the same people that probably live in gated communities. They live far away from the crime. They live far away, from the issues. They do, but they have all the sympathy and everything for these people, man. It's really ridiculous. She talks about Bukele's gulag, but she doesn't mention that Bukele managed to turn El Salvador into one of the safest countries in the Western Hemisphere in a few years. In a few years. This is what authoritarians do, because Trump wants to reopen Alcatraz to lock up the worst criminals, like folks who commit homicides and, gang leaders and, violent illegal immigrants. That right there is a problem. We got to protect these types of people. We have to. So let me get this straight. Following through on a campaign promise to crack down on crime, something the American people voted for in 2024, makes Trump an authoritarian. I can't even talk today. Good Lord. But somehow, activist judges and Democrat leaders blocking the executive branch from doing what the people elected him to do, that's not authoritarian. You can't make this stuff up, man. You can't. It's the left's obsession with tying Trump's hands while violent offenders roam free, terrorizing our communities. That is a problem to me. These people would rather protect the rights of criminals, illegal immigrants, than the safety of law-abiding citizens. I mean, these people priorities are insane. Now let's talk about those priorities for a quick second. The regime, and yes, I'm talking about the Democrat media complex, seems to think it's more important to cry about authoritarianism than to address the real fears that Americans have about crime. They're more upset about a prison reopening than they are about the victims of violent crime who suffer because of their soft on crime policies. But they weren't so opposed to the idea just last year. Back in May of 2024, the ladies on The View floated the same exact idea, suggesting reopening Alcatraz and imprisoning Trump there. Again, you can't make these stuff up, man. If a Democrat is talking, they're probably lying, or they're being extremely hypocritical. One of the two.
I think to make a point, to prove a point, put him in the clink. Oh, why not? Put him in the clink.
I don't want this to sound like I'm doing wishful thinking.
Yes.
But which prison would be best?
I know which one.
I'm going to give you, Michael. Well, that's what I asked. Number one is Rikers. But, I'm okay if he goes to Alcatraz and they reopen it.
Maybe.
What about Guantanamo Bay? Okay?
Yeah. Well, that'd be close to Mar-a-Lago. Melania can come and visit.
That's right. What about Supermax? Supermax would be interesting. El Chapo was in Supermax. Now he wants to be with the hip people. Come on.
Yeah.
What's up, Reason Mahmood? How you doing this morning, brother? Peace and blessings to you, man. Appreciate you pulling up. Hey, Anita, I understand. Oh, man, I tell you, man, these women, they're something else, man. For all the talk that they'd send, Trump and and anyone that they disagree with, to El Salvador or to Alcatraz or to Rikers or, you know, to the Supermax prison out there in Colorado, you name it, they would do it in a heartbeat. So let me get this straight. A year ago, the ladies on The View, they were all Googles and grins, floating the idea of reopening Alcatraz to lock President Trump up. But now that Trump wants to use it for actual violent criminals, they're clutching their pearls and screaming, you know, authoritarianism. You can't make this stuff up, man. I mean, these people, again, if the Democrats are talking, if somebody from the left is talking, they're either lying or they're being extremely hypocritical. One of the two. They don't mind throwing people behind bars as long as it's someone that they hate, like Trump or supporters, you know, who's basically been their boogeyman for years. They've made a lot of money, you know, talking about this. But when it's their precious criminals, illegal immigrants, suddenly it's a human rights crisis. I mean, it's almost too perfect. It's almost too perfect, man. The left, their mask slips every time they open their mouth. They'll cheer for locking up conservatives in a heartbeat, but the second Trump tries to protect Americans by getting tough on crime, they cry foul. It's not about principles with these people, man. It's about power. They cannot stand that Trump's actually delivering on what the people voted for. They can't stand it. Because the reality of it is that they're used to saying a whole lot of things on the campaign trail and following through on anything. So Trump, in a sense, is probably making them look bad because they don't follow through on anything that they promised via the campaign trail. Democrats flip-flop faster than a fish on dry land when it comes to their campaign promises. They do. You guys know it. Again, if a Democrat or a liberal is talking, they're either lying or being extremely hypocritical. Chad, you're onto something there. You're absolutely right, man. Shout out to my guy, Jeffrey Wisnett, with the $5 super chat. Says, can we send all the ladies from The View to Alcatraz? Hey, not all the ladies. How about just Sunny Hostin, man? I'd be okay with just her. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. What's up, Cool Ramon? How you doing this morning, brother? Now, we're going to move on. In a related cultural flashpoint, CNN reported that some Cinco de Mayo festivals were scaled back or shelved because attendees, particularly undocumented immigrants, feared ICE raids. Hey, what are you going to do about that?
May 5th, and that means Cinco de Mayo, Wolf, a holiday that celebrates Mexico's victory over France. But some, in the Battle of Puebla, I should say, but some communities have canceled or scaled back cultural events because of President Trump's crackdown on illegal immigration and the fear among many Latinos that they could be arrested.
All right, so typical fear mongering coming from the left and from CNN. You know, if you're here legally, you don't need to worry about deportation. You don't. But if you're here illegally, well, Tom Homan made it clear what'll happen. Take a look at this.
We're finally getting the message. If you leave on your own, you can take advantage of legal programs, come back. But we have to go through the process of formally deporting you. There are mandatory bars against you for up to 20 years, sometimes forever. So, you know, if you want to take advantage, come back as a worker, a tourist visa, a visitor's visa, a student visa, or have a U.S. citizen child if you have one, petition for you in the future. Leave yourself open to the opportunity of legal entry. Do things the right way. There's millions of people standing in line right now doing things the right way. Taking the test, doing the background investigations, paying their fees. They're sitting in the back seat. While millions of people are allowed into this country under the Biden administration that simply don't qualify for asylum. Most of them will lose that asylum claim. So while they're clogging up the whole system, in addition to those who want to come in legally, while the millions of fraudulent asylum claims under Biden administration, there are people in this world who really are escaping fear and persecution from the homeland. But they're sitting in the back seat too because millions of people cheated the system, coming across the border and released in the United States. That caused a significant backlog in immigration court. And that wasn't by accident, it's by design. Let's just overwhelm the system. So it takes 5, 7, 9 years to go through the whole process if they take advantage of the appeals process. They know exactly what they're doing. That's why they weren't in ICE detention. Because in ICE detention, they get a hearing within 35 days. But if we release millions of the country, overwhelm the system so they don't get a hearing in 5, 7, 9 years, then maybe there's a Democrat administration in power. Now we can have an amnesty. They know exactly what they're doing. They're playing the long game. But we're going to beat them at it. We're going to ramp up interior enforcement operations and removals. We're going to force the law. We're not going to ignore the law like the prior administration did.
Hey, Tom Homan is not playing around. He's not playing around, and neither is Trump, man. That clip you just saw ties right into the bigger plan, that Trump's rolling out to tackle illegal immigration head on. The self-deportation program, let's break this down real quick. The self-deportation program. Let's break it down because it's a game changer. The Department of Homeland Security just announced that they'll pay undocumented migrants to leave the United States voluntarily, offering a $1,000 stipend and a one-way departure ticket to their home country. DHS says this is way cheaper than forced deportations, which cost about $17,000 per person on average. And by contrast, this self-deportation deal is a bargain and it's already in motion. It's already in motion. This is happening. They've even repurposed the old CBP One app, which Biden used to let migrants schedule border entries, into something called CBP Home. Now it's a tool for undocumented folks to report their departure. But there's more to this plan. Trump first floated the idea back in April, saying the U.S. might work with those who leave to get them to come back later if they're good. Coming back the right way, that is. And DHS echoed that, saying self-deportation may help preserve the ability to return legally, though they didn't specify how. And the catch is this: if you don't take the deal, you're looking at potential fines, and the administration's not stopping there. The administration's message is leave now, keep your chance to come back someday, or risk a permanent ban with a forced deportation on your record. It's a carrot and a stick approach. Take the money and go quietly, or face ICE and a much harsher exit. And that's exactly what we saw play out in real time just a few days ago in Nashville, Tennessee. While some undocumented immigrants are taking the self-deportation deal to avoid trouble, others are living in fear as ICE ramps up its operations. Now, take that $1,000 in the free plane ticket, man. $1,000 will go a long ways in a lot of countries. Hey, that's an opportunity for you to start a business and things of that nature in your home country. $1,000 goes a long ways. It does. Take that bread and get up out of here, man.
THP tells us his troopers conducted around 150 traffic stops over the weekend, and some of them did involve this immigration activity with ICE. That is what troopers do confirm to us. Now, they say some drivers were found without a valid driver's license or ID, and there were some illegal drugs found, illegal guns found, and some suspected gang affiliation as well. So troopers contacted ICE when immigration status was in question. Then Sunday, here at the Department of Homeland Security, groups fighting for immigrant rights say there were dozens of people being bussed out by ICE officials.
Shout out to Crystal Beyond Labels. Thank you very much for the $4.99 super chat. She says, good morning, Wise and ARP fam. I love Tom Homan. They are cleaning up the crimes by illegal immigrants. Love this administration. Yeah, I agree with what they're doing. I love the $1,000 $1,000 self-deportation plan. Take your $1,000 and your free ticket back home. Hey, you're leaving with way more than you came with. Thank you for the super chat, Crystal. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, so sometime this weekend, dozens of individuals were taken into custody by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. And unlike the carefully coordinated raids that we've seen in other cities. This one arrived with virtually no advance notice, no public warrants posted, no targeted court summons delivered to homes, and no clear list of names or addresses distributed to the community groups. The key point is these weren't knock and announce workplace raids. These were street level traffic operations conducted under cover of darkness, catching many entirely off guard. Now, Nashville proclaims itself as a sanctuary of some sorts, offering limited cooperation with ICE, yet Tennessee, as a whole, the state that is firmly an open state, meaning state police must comply with federal detainer requests. The net result is that local police often refuse ICE detainers, while state police can't opt out of federal requests. So what happens here? ICE partners with THP and conducts these joint operations, essentially outsourcing enforcement to state troopers whenever local police balk. Either way, the Nashville operation serves as a local proof of concept. If people are scared enough of sudden street level pickups, perhaps more will choose to enroll in the voluntary departure program, because what country are we if we can't enforce our immigration laws? Missing somebody. Hold up. Uh-oh. We got Queen Bee's Art Hive. I've been a member for a month. I just want to say thank you and sorry for your loss. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you. Make sure I didn't miss anybody else. Mm-hmm. All right. Appreciate you guys. Thank you very much. Now, what we do know, about this particular situation is we know that the left, they're not taking this lying down. They're spinning their usual narratives, trying to paint Trump's deportation efforts as some kind of moral outrage or immoral outrage. I guess that might be the better word. They're crying about how unfair it is to go after illegal immigrants who've been here for years, but they conveniently forget that Biden and Obama did the same exact thing, just with less noise. In fact, legacy media propagandist Joe Scarborough, he got caught in a total mess trying to explain why deportations were okay under Democrats, but not under President Trump. These people are ridiculous, man. We got to take a look at, how Scarborough how he ties himself into knots with this one, man. So it's okay for Obama to do it, but not okay for Trump to do it. Sometimes I wonder about these people, man. I really do. They're not even trying to hide their bias anymore. Seriously.
In the Biden administration, when you had 5 million people coming across the border illegally over, a couple of years, much easier to have those deportation numbers up because so many illegal immigrants were coming in. Now the border's quiet.
Right.
And so, again, as we predicted beforehand, it is extraordinarily expensive to deport people. This wasn't going to be as easy as it would have been during the Biden administration because, again, 5 million were let in illegally. Mm-hmm. They're at the border. And that's what Barack Obama did with his deportations. A lot of these non-judicial deportations were already close to the border. So it was much easier to deport without going through the judicial process that we're talking about.
It is not only more expensive, it then borders on a lot of questions of civil liberties for people that are legally here. Because now you're going into the mainland of the United States and you're grabbing people with no due process who maybe should be here legally and who are, in the cases of a Garcia, the wrong people. So when it was done at the border with Obama and Biden, you had less risk of that.
Like I said, they either lying or being hypocrites. One of the two. So according to Scarborough and your favorite Reverend, Al Sharpton, Biden deporting illegal aliens was fine because the border was wide open and it was easy to grab them near the border states. Obama's non-judicial deportations also okay because they skipped due process, which is ironic since the left screams about due process right now. But when Trump does it, it's suddenly a problem because the illegals are dispersed into the country and it's too expensive. This doesn't even make sense. I'm at a point now where I believe that the people that watch MSNBC are not the brightest stars in the sky. And that particular clip right there shows you that they don't believe that the people that watch their network are very intelligent. They just don't. But to an extent, it sort of explains their plan all along. Let millions into the interior of the country, make it almost impossible to extract them all, but grabbing them at the border is okay. So in both situations, people are attempting to enter the country illegally, and in both situations, they should be deported. But it just goes to show, it just goes to show that this was government enabled, a crime for which Biden and Mayorkas should be held accountable for, because prior to Biden, at least there was some attempt to deport before they even got into the interior of the country. The American people should not have to pay the price for the Biden administration's criminal choices. But here we are in 2025 with Democrat appointed judges saying that, yeah, we got to deal with this foolishness. And yes, you have Democrats out there crying foul over Trump deportations, clutching their pearls, and screaming about due process while ignoring the mess that they created. They created this situation. They'd allowed, well, Scarborough said 5 million, but we know that it's upwards of 20 to 21 million people. We'll say this. We won't say 20 to 21. We'll say anywhere from 11 to 21 million people they allowed over here in this country. And they've allowed them in the interior. They're all over the place in this country. And they're upset that President Trump is attempting to do something about it. But let's ask the real question here. Why are they so desperate to keep illegal immigrants here in the first place? What is their end game? Somebody answer these questions for me in the chat. Why are they so desperate? Why are they so desperate to allow these illegal immigrants to stay here in the first place? What is their end game? I want to hear from you guys in the chat. What is their end game? What is their plan? What's the goal? We have MSNBC's guest, Lisa Rubin. She let the cat out of the bag when she went on a rant about how Trump's immigration policies are scaring away farm workers, specifically strawberry pickers in California. Apparently, the left thinks that we should just let illegal immigrants stay so they can keep picking fruit on the cheap. Let's take a look at what she got to say. But now they told us they're not the party of slavery, but they sure do like their freaking free and cheap labor. They sure love it. They love that free and cheap labor over there on the left.
I think it's going to be a trap. Won't it create more law breaking, more people living in the shadows?
Absolutely. And I'll give you a good example and one that we haven't really talked about a lot. I'm from Southern California originally, which is the strawberry growing capital of America in Oxnard, California. When I was home last, there were stories about how all of this fruit was dying on the vine. And the reason it was dying was because the farm workers who were picking them were afraid to come out of the shadows. There's no question that the dramatic uptick in law enforcement with respect to immigration is impacting the willingness of people to participate in the economy and to otherwise cooperate with immigration proceedings. You see that also in the case involving this judge in Milwaukee. The gentleman who she is allegedly accused of trying to help escape from the courthouse, he was there for a court hearing with respect to domestic violence charges. If people believe that they will be arrested, for example, in courthouses when they show up to make routine appearances, either in immigration or in criminal proceedings, you're not going to have people show up for things like naturalization interviews or criminal appearances. Either one, you're going to see people not come.
Lee, I have a question for you. We've seen this administration.
I'd say this is unbelievable, but it's not. It's not. It's not unbelievable, man. Because these people, they're ridiculous. So according to Lisa Rubin, strawberries are dying on the vine in California because undocumented workers are too scared to come out of the shadows to pick them, thanks to Trump's immigration crackdown. So she's basically admitting that the Democrats' whole immigration strategy is about cheap labor or free labor. Somebody please tell me where the remainder of these 250, 60,000 kids, where are they at? Where are these kids at? Shout out to Joseph Orsini with the $4.99 super chat. He says, it's the FDA wise, future Democrats of America. They want slavery back. Yeah. Yeah. Well, slavery never really left this country, right? It hasn't. You get locked up and catch a felony, you are a ward to the state, you're a ward of the federal government. Yeah, they love their cheap labor or free labor. They love it. These people don't care about the rule of law. They don't care about the fact that the illegal immigration drives down wages for American workers. They don't care. They don't care that it puts a strain on our communities and the resources that should go to American citizens. They don't care. Their priority is making sure farmers can exploit undocumented workers to keep costs low, while everyday Americans get squeezed. And let's not forget the bigger picture here. American workers deserve those jobs at fair wages without being undercut by illegal labor. But the left's been pushing this open border nonsense for years because it benefits their corporate donors and keeps their precious progressive image intact. Think about this, man. Your Democrats today are the party of the super rich and the extremely poor or illegal immigrants. That's who the Democrats' base is right now. Super wealthy people and the very poor. And the thing is that the poor in this country, they actually create them. They create poor people in America. Think about it. Think about what they push. Think about, what they big up. They're all about single parenthood. They're not about nuclear families. They're all about out of wedlock births. They're all about pregnancy terminations. So their goal is to, make sure we stay in power so we can do what we need to do for the super elite. And we'll give the very poor just enough to survive, never enough to thrive. And we'll come around every year and say, hey, what the scraps that you do have is because of us. Now, we need you to stay there. We don't want to help you out of that. We need you to stay there. We're going to do everything that we can to keep you there. But the help that you do receive, you get it from us. Shout out to Crystal Beyond Labels with the $4.99 super chat. She says, flood America with illegals, obligate them to vote for the liberals and destroy America. New World Order loading. Absolutely right. Oh, yeah. Well, my thing is that we do have this thing. It's called the H-2A visa for your farm workers and things of that nature. So if we do need people to come over and work on the farms and things of that nature, give them a proper work visa, pay them a proper wage, and allow these people to pay taxes and then go back home. I don't see an issue with that. And Dr. Silla, you're absolutely right. They need a permanent underclass. They got to have it. Democrats have to have a permanent underclass. They need somebody that will, one, do their bidding for them, and two, that they can keep their foot on their neck and provide them the bare minimum to make it. And then they'll point the finger, at the Republican Party or anybody that's conservative saying, man, you don't have to live like this. And they'll say, see, they don't want you to have these little trinkets that we're giving you. See, they don't want you to do that. We're telling them, ain't nobody stopping you from getting out here and working. And the Democrats are telling them, you are a victim, you are oppressed, and you need us. We're your God. You praise and bow at the feet of the Democrat Party, and if you do that, we'll take care of you. Sacrifice your children. Yes, do that. Sacrifice them. It's okay. Don't get married. Have your kids by whoever. Be extremely reckless with your body. Oh, you want to come over here illegally? Okay, yeah, come on over here. We'll give you just enough. It ain't gonna be enough. By the end of that month, you get to the last 2, 3, 4 days of a month, you are starving for that check and those benefits to come through. We're gonna give you just enough. And we're not going to allow you to get out of here. Because once we got you, we got you. Once we got you, we got you. Now you got to ask, who's been helping them sell this daggone narrative? Who's been helping them sell this narrative every step of the way? And the answer to that question is legacy media. Outlets like MSNBC, they aren't just whining about strawberries. They've been peddling the Democrats' agenda for years, for decades, spinning sob stories to guilt trip Americans into accepting open border policies, all while ignoring the real cost to our workers and the communities. They've been twisting facts to prop up the left's policies. And the worst part is they've been doing it with your tax dollars. But the gravy train, it just hit a brick wall because Trump signed an executive order to end taxpayer subsidization of biased media outlets. We got to dive into it. I want you guys to see this article right here. Give me a second. I'm going to pull this up for you guys. Let me pull it. This right here is from whitehouse.gov. President actions ending taxpayer subsidization of biased media. If you guys would like to read this for yourself, shoot me a message. I'd be more than happy to send it over to you. More than happy. But this particular executive order here, it cancels all direct grants to NPR, PBS, to the maximum extent permitted by law. It blocks all future funding requests, and it ensures that federal licenses, like your local public TV and radio stations, don't use CBP money to prop up NPR or PBS. So what this essentially does is it cuts off the gravy train that lets progressive elites spew left-wing spin on your dime. You want to do that on your money, and you want to fund this and it not be nonprofit, by all means, do you. But it should be mandatory that your coverage on news and things of that nature is right down the middle. Your job is to promote or what's the word I'm looking for? Not necessarily promote, but to report, not promote, but report facts, the news, what's actually going on. We don't need your left-wing bias on NPR or PBS. We don't. I'll send it over to you, Dion. Now, some people may ask, why is this happening now? And the reason is this, man. For decades, NPR and PBS, they've pandered one-sided coverage that slams conservatives and defends Democrats. And this has been happening for years. Acting as an arm of the left is not an impartial public service, and pushing identity politics and climate alarmism far beyond facts shouldn't be subsidized by the taxpayers. It's because of things like this, the media has been getting away with lying for years. MSNBC hosts, for example, just recently had to issue a correction live on air because they claim that FBI Director Kash Patel has been out partying at nightclubs instead of working. And this is just one of many. This is just one of many. We're going to take a look at it, but this is what you get, from these networks that are supposed to report the news, but they are extremely biased.
And now let's circle back to a segment from Friday's show. Frank Figliuzzi was on that morning during this hour discussing the work of administration officials. At the end of that segment, Figliuzzi said that FBI Director Kash Patel has reportedly been more visible at nightclubs than at his office at FBI headquarters. This was a misstatement. We have not verified that claim. We will be right back. And now let's circle back to a segment from...
How do you throw something out there like that and you don't even know if it's true? You hadn't verified the claim or anything like that. You just gonna throw that out there. Mm-mm-mm. Oh man. So let's talk about it, man. If these so-called news channels had to issue a correction every time they lied about something, every time they lied about something, they would report their lies on Monday and spend Tuesday retracting everything that they said on Monday. These people lie for a living. They get paid to lie. They get paid extremely well for it. Seriously. And naturally, of course, the leftist media went into full out meltdown mode over this situation here. PBS CEO Paula Kerger was just on CBS claiming that NPR is completely independent, while studies have shown that PBS NewsHour gave over 90% airtime to leftist views on things like gender ideology. This is real. But yet they want us to believe that they are extremely biased. That's what they want us. I'm sorry, that they're not biased.
Both the combination of the fact that it was built as a public-private partnership, there would be some public money that went into public broadcasting that would enable stations in small communities to exist, alongside the fact that most of our support comes from people in communities. That really does create something that is very independent and very responsive to the communities that we serve. Both the combination of the fact.
So she said independent. Yeah, independent. They had a chance. They had a chance to reform PBS, and they chose not to do so. Instead, they chose to double down, and now they're crying wolf when you come to find out. So what she's essentially saying here is that, how dare you defund our left-wing propaganda? You got to keep paying us. Think about all the people that we pay to spew left-wing propaganda. Some people are even calling this a move, are calling the move a fundamental attack on our Constitution. Oh my gosh, you can't make this stuff up, man. You can't make it up. You can't make it up, man.
President's moves at this time, not just about PBS. This is not just about us. It's part of a larger campaign here.
Right. But I think what the president is doing, it is a fundamental attack on our Constitution, on the foundation of this country. People need to understand and remember there is only one profession that is protected in the Constitution, and it is the free press. It is the press. And why? Because the founders understood that the survival of a democracy depends on an informed citizenry. And the citizenry can only be informed by a press that can report and report on the affairs of the republic free and unfettered. And whether they are, come from the left or from the right, the government should not interfere with that reporting. And so when you have a president of the United States who is making it his mission to attack the free press, we should all be concerned, whether we are at PBS or whether we are at MSNBC, because he's focused on us too.
Well, I know we'll all continue to do our work without.
Well, I mean, if you own your network and it's not being subsidized by the federal government, by all means, talk about what you want to talk about, right? Say what you want to say. Capehart comes out and says that the government shouldn't interfere with the press. I agree with that. I agree that the government shouldn't interfere with the press. I agree. I mean, I guess we could say newsflash, but I don't know if this is a newsflash, but the First Amendment protects the press from government censorship, not from losing taxpayer handouts to fund their propaganda machine. Again, the First Amendment protects the press from government censorship, not from losing taxpayer handouts to fund their propaganda machine. The government isn't interfering by cutting off your allowance. It's just refusing to pay for your biased nonsense. And the Constitution doesn't say that you're entitled to my tax dollars, to our tax dollars, for you to push your left-wing agenda. But these self-righteous leftists, they act like it's their birthright to take our money, taxpayer money, and spew some of the most biased DNC propaganda out there. They act like it's their right to do so. The indignation is so thick that you could cut it with a knife, man. They're basically saying, how dare you stop funding our echo chambers? It's not hard to understand. If you want to play the free press card, then stand on your own 2 feet and stop begging for government assistance. Simple as that. Free press, stand on your own. Go do your own thing. But don't take money from the citizens. I find it funny, man. I find it funny how the left loves to cry about a tax on free press when it's their ox being gored. But they got no problem messing with the press when it suits them. Let's talk about the Democrat track record, shall we? During Obama's administration, the DOJ secretly seized phone records from Associated Press journalists in 2013 to hunt down a leaker without notifying them first. That happened. That's right. They spied on reporters to protect their own secrets. And the left barely batted an eye. Some of you guys may not even know that happened. Then there's Biden's team, who in 2021 pressured social media companies like Facebook and Twitter to censor C-19 quote-unquote misinformation, including posts from independent journalists who were just asking questions. That happened. The White House even admitted to flagging specific content for removal, which got legit reporters throttled or banned. That happened. Or remember the 51 intelligence agents and how Biden or the Biden administration or the Biden White House worked overtime to make sure that it never sees the light of day in reference to the Hunter Biden laptop? Yeah, for sure. Trump's a threat to the free press. Really? You know, Senator Kennedy said it best. Media, you can paddle whatever BS you want, no problem. But just don't expect the taxpayer to foot the bill. Just don't expect the taxpayer to foot the bill. You can talk about whatever you want to talk about. This is a free country. We have the ability to speak on whatever it is that we want to speak on. But I, as a taxpayer, I shouldn't be forced to deal with it or pay for it. I shouldn't be forced to do so. Neither should you.
Money to subsidize any form of media, left wing, right wing, up wing, down wing, any of them. We spend $500 million a year giving money to public TV and public radio. Why? I mean, why are we subsidizing them but not other forms of media? That's point one. Point two, you know, we all know what public radio and public TV is like today. They're very diverse. They run from slightly communist to very communist. Now, they're entitled to their point of view, but why does government, why do taxpayers have to pay? They're very diverse. They run from slightly communist to very communist. Now, they're entitled to their point of view, but why does government, why do taxpayers have to pay for it? And I would say the same thing if they weren't communist, if they were to the right. I just don't think government has the money to waste anymore. We never did, but it's been going on for a long time. We couldn't stop it under President Biden, but we're going to stop it under President Trump. They're very diverse. They run from slightly communist to very communist.
I like that right there. From slightly communist to very communist. I love that. I love that. So my question is, why do they expect to lean on you, lean on me for millions and then turn around and trash your values, trash what you believe in. Senator Kennedy is absolutely right, man. We don't have the money to waste. We just don't. Award-winning former NPR editor found 87 registered Democrats to 0 Republicans on their editorial boards. That's real. One study showed that PBS's NewsHour used far right 162 times versus far left only 6 times in 6 months. Corporate media refused to touch Hunter Biden's laptop and Biden's cognitive decline warnings. They refused to talk about it because it helped President Trump. And the list goes on and on and on and on. And again, for these guys crying that this is an attack on the free press, let's be clear, man. The First Amendment guarantees freedom from government censorship, not a subscription to your favorite PBS show. And no clause says that taxpayers must bankroll every media outlet, especially when it's a one-party propaganda shot. An independent press thrives on subscriptions, advertising, and donations, not an unlimited federal subsidy. And finally, to put it into the perspective, activist judges have been busy locking or blocking, more or less, blocking Trump's every step, from immigration to budget priorities. When a liberal judge slaps an injunction on an executive order, that's unelected power overriding a president. That's the real First Amendment threat right there. It's not cutting PBS and NPR from taxpayer cash. It's judges scripting policy, not elected officials. And the bottom line is this. President Trump's order to defund NPR and PBS, it's long overdue. No more paying for liberal bias with your tax dollars. It's time to cut the cord on public funding for propaganda, restore journalistic integrity, and ensure that your money serves you, not left-wing elites. Simple as that. What I want to hear from you guys in the chat, I want to hear from you guys in the comment section. Like, share, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, man. If this is your first time, joining a live show, appreciate you pulling up this morning. God bless you guys. I appreciate each person that joined the ARP family, those that support the channel. I definitely appreciate you guys, man. I really, really do. Christy says YouTube must be playing games because it didn't show me or notify me. Yeah, it happens. It happens. But I would definitely check your notifications. Make sure it's clicked. You click the all, so you get all the notifications. That would be, I guess the number one thing to do is to make sure that you're not missing it. But I definitely appreciate you guys, man. Appreciate you all pulling up this morning, man. I hope you guys have a great Tuesday. We'll be at this thing again, Lord willing, tomorrow. Tomorrow's Wednesday. Yeah, tomorrow, Wednesday and Thursday. And that will be the end of the shows for the week. But I do appreciate you guys, man. Appreciate you all pulling up. Appreciate everybody that support the channel financially today. Definitely appreciate that as well. Definitely appreciate that. And, appreciate the support, man. Good show today. Good show today. Good turnout today as well. Coming right back. It is Tuesday, man. These weeks be flying by, man. First week of May. And I tell you, man, the daggone months, they fly by. But I'm definitely in need of a little bit of time off, a little bit of a vacation. So I'm definitely looking forward to getting a little bit of time this weekend and, getting out on the links and kind of hanging out a little. I'm definitely that, man. But I appreciate you guys as always. Shout out to the Blues, keeping things peaceful in the chat. Coaster and Brett Montgomery and who else? Zephyr K9 and B. Appreciate you all pulling up this morning. Thank you very much, man. And shout out to all the ARP family. Appreciate you guys. And shout out to everybody in the chat, man. What's up, T.A. Caskey? How you doing this morning, brother? Appreciate you pulling up as well. Y'all make sure y'all stay prayed up. Shout out to Selena Puckett with the $5 super sticker. Thank you very much for supporting the channel, man. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you all. Appreciate you all pulling up this morning, man. Keep God first. Stay prayed up. We'll catch up with you all a little later. You guys take care, man. Peace.
Vibes so raw. hide the truth. Words so sharp